Hello, everyone. My name is Arnaud St. Paul, and we're going to start doing this amazing presentation about WHOS. So welcome to the WHOS, right? WHOS, which is a online session helping people, change makers, entrepreneurs to be at the best of themselves and to serve the vision that they have. And today we're going to talk about arise. Arise is one word that had some enigma from my standpoint, and I wanted to understand better what it means from a higher self standpoint and how it can help me to grow as an entrepreneur. So today we're going to explore what it is. So what is WHOS to start with? It's a online free method that we offer to the world and that is being broadcasted on YouTube and LinkedIn. It is there to help you change the world and as you wish. And it's guided by a 30 years research that I led, creating the Heartful Method. Each week, we revisit a core concept. In the past few weeks, we went through pronoia, trust, wisdom, growth was very interesting. Actually, it was last week. And today, we're going to go into arise. And the whole purpose of that is to help you be more in harmony, in coherence, a more symphonic you or symphonic business that enables you to achieve the goals that you have and that you hold dear within, right? So that's the whole idea here. So please take action, join us. It is free. You can have a 30-day free session there. And so tapwhat.com/who's-free. And so you can join us at the live Q&A, which is there available after this broadcast on our Zoom call. Okay, see you in a minute. So we always start with a poem. And that poem comes from my book, I is Born. And from the apparent unknown, I arises. From the elusive fog of belief, I arise. From the chaotic version of itself, I chooses, becomes, and arises. Towards its chosen vision, I arose. Into a clear path towards itself, I chose. To the completion of all it can be. I embraced, loved, rose. Step into your magnificence, choose joy and majesty, even with a tad of petulance. It is for you at last to be. Rejoice and joy arise. Discover all that you are to be, for it is your gift to rise infinitely. So this is the poem today that is going to guide us into understanding better what it means to arise from my standpoint, from I standpoint. And so as you can see here in the first stanza, I arise without really a certainty of where it goes, right? And what is the purpose there. It blossoms from a place of confusion, maybe, or a fog of beliefs in this case. And it is from that chaos that I becomes, it chooses to be and rise above whatever is ailing it at that moment. So it's a beautiful picture of what we can become if we choose to. So towards this chosen vision, I arose into a clear path towards itself. So in other words, by the choice it's made, by the choice you make, right? Because that I is you. By the choice you make, you create automatically a clear path. It doesn't necessarily seem absolutely perfect at first, but it is there for you to step upon. And as you go along, as you move forward, things to become clearer and clearer. And therefore, I chose to the completion of all it can be. I embraced, loved, and rose. So in other words, by stepping one step another one, it actually makes it possible to not only go on a clearer path, but also embracing whatever shows up, loving whatever is the gift that life brings to me, whether it's a professional matter or a personal one, same thing. And therefore continuing creating the momentum that brings me to my own magnificence, which expresses itself in joy, in the majesty of you, right? And so the invitation here is, what if, wherever you are, whatever you feel in this moment, what if you could arise from, like the phoenix from the las cenizas, when the fire burns everything, the ashes. So the phoenix is born from its ashes, and then you discover what it is to be you, what it is to be in going in that direction. So this is a strong invitation to really step forward and allow yourself to move and grow and arise into your own magnificence. So let's see how it works out in our slides. And, if you're interested, go to tapwhat.com/I and you can get my book there, or audiobook for that matter. So these shadows, these beliefs that we are coming from, there are many different layers. And here we've categorized a few of them. So we have the reality framework belief system that includes the time, space. So all these are frameworks that we believe in and that creates the scope of our experience. Then we have the humanity belief systems, right? So I am French or American or German, etc. And with the culture that goes along with it, there is a set of belief systems that goes along with that. Then we have society belief system. We have the family's belief systems, whatever your father or mother or grandfather, grandmothers believed in, like scarcity or, religiously speaking, etc. These are beliefs that you are driving yourself with and creating your sense of identity, right? And then you have the personal belief systems that you created throughout your life by, within the, before 12 years old, before 12, 14 years old, you created a set of belief systems through which now you are driving most of your life until you choose otherwise. And then you have the knowledge belief system that you acquire at school. And then obviously out of that is the little I, that a sense of identity that you hold dear to. So how does that work? Well, we do have steps of identification, and 6 of them. So we have reality, again, identification to the body, to the emotions, to the thoughts, to the I, to the observer, to the I am. So all these emotions, physical presence, thoughts, etc., are also sets of belief systems and identifications from which I can arise. But again, it's a choice. So let's look at all this from a different perspective. We all know that we have this human experience in a 3D world, right? We have the left, the right, the up and the down, and even 4D if we take into account time, right? So it's interesting, as you can see here, in a 3D cube, which we all know what is, in a one-dimensional world would be a line. And the two-dimensional world is a square. In a 4D, you see all of a sudden we've got a very interesting shape that starts to take shape, and where we see different aspects of the same cube. But because it's 4D, then we have different angles to it, right? Well, what is interesting is then we go beyond 4D, and part of the Heartful Method framework is to look to understand how all this works. And maybe there is a good understanding, thanks to quantum physics, but also the Eastern philosophies, that we actually live in a more of a 12D world. So all of a sudden, our little cube here, the 3D cube, is actually part of an immense scope and of ourselves. So in other words, we have thousands and thousands and millions of little 3D cubes in this 12 dimension cube. And each moment is an exploration of one aspect. So what if I can indeed arise and explore these other aspects? What if it is actually not that difficult? So if you were last week in our session, you're probably going to recognize this one. So when we come into this world, we decide to explore a part of ourselves, a little aspect, a little range of our vibration. We come loaded with the different belief systems that are coming from humanity, from family, from society, etc. And then, therefore, we are limited in what we can explore. Then as we grow up, we discover that, so the same way, same concept here, from the whole potentials that is possible, from the chaos that is, everything is possible, we only, as an eye, are looking at and are aware of a small range of events. And this happens within the scope of limitation until we make other choices. So through the life funnel, we actually have this capacity to make choices. And from birth to death, we can have the potential of going beyond the range of our possibilities imposed by our family, our archetypes, the belief systems we come with, right? So in other words, maybe we have the opportunity to go beyond just that green aspect, that's where we were before, and open up to more potentials. So in other words, instead of staying in the forgiveness, trust, courage, for instance, or even pride or anger and desire throughout our life, we start being able to explore all the range of possibilities, of emotions, of presence, etc. So is it a choice you want to make? That's the question. Do you want to arise? So in other words, all of a sudden you have the capacity to access more events, more probabilities, more freedom, in other words. And that happens through inner rebirth. So in other words, I come from a specific aspect of myself that is vibrating at a specific range. And then at some point, all of a sudden, I am able to rebirth to myself and jump to a new octave of myself where everything opens up more. And that's what can happen right now, as soon as I choose to arise in this case. So in other words, to illustrate a bit further, from superficiality, I go into self-assurance that brings me to presence. Each is a mirror of the other. Let's say that superficiality is a shadow of self-assurance, and self-assurance is a shadow of presence. The ultimate goal, if you choose to, is to arise to presence. But on that journey from superficiality, you will at some point get into self-assurance and then open up to more presence of yourself. And that applies to trust, to fear, to grief, to apathy, to courage, to forgiveness. Everything is connected always. So what is your choice? Do you want to do these emotional leaps? Are you ready to arise infinitely? Can you think about letting go of stuck being stuck in negative emotions and then growing into a more happy and productive life, or even peak performance without stress. Amazing. Or synchronicity and extraordinary outcomes. What is the choice you're making? What is the step you're ready to take? And all that is possible, and you have it in your grasp now. So are you ready to arise? So now we're going to head up to the live Q&A. Please do join us here. You can scan this QR code here. And please, let's see how we can continue this conversation. Have an amazing day.